a sign of an impending economic crash. Pope Francis has ordered all of the Vatican's vast fortune and money in commercial investments and banks be liquidated and transferred into the Vatican. The Pope was clear that 100% would be transferred and there would be no exceptions. The deadline for the transfer is October 1st. Wow.
Something really big could be getting ready to happen because there's some absolutely incredible news that just came out this last week, and it's that Pope Francis instructs Vatican entities to move all funds to Vatican Bank by September 30th. Now, I'll get more into what the Vatican and their role is in the world and in end times prophecy, but of course, no matter what you believe, the Vatican plays a huge role in control of the world. I mean, the Pope is always meeting with people, Elon Musk and all these different people, different nations, and now we see Islam and the Vatican and Judaism all coming together at the Abrahamic Family Religious Center in Abu Dhabi. I mean, things are just all coming together now, and this is just pretty incredible. So here's the beginning of this article. Pope Francis has ordered that the Holy See and connected entities move all financial assets to the Institute of Works of Religion, the IOR, commonly known as the Vatican Bank. The Pope's rescript issued August 23rd clarifies that the interpretation of a paragraph in the new constitution of the Roman Cura, Predicate Evangelum, promulgated in March. According to Francis's rescript, financial and liquid assets held in banks other than the IOR must be moved to the Vatican Bank within 30 days of September 1st, 2022. The IOR, based in Vatican City State, has 110 employees, 14,000 clients, and they deal with about 5.6 billion client assets that they admit. So what does this mean? Because there's a lot of very strange things surrounding the Catholic Church, end times prophecy, and Pope Francis in general. We know in Revelation that the Antichrist will demand a one-world government, a one-world religion worshiping him, and a one-world monetary system where you can't buy or sell without his mark on your hand or head. And like I just mentioned about the Abrahamic Family Center in Abu Dhabi, we're seeing these religions coming together to join up in a one-world way, in a one-world system. And I've got a video that's going to be coming out more soon on this one world and every aspect of our lives that's taking place and building up. And the Vatican will play a role in that, and they're starting to, and they have been for years. And I think there's a very high likelihood that they are Mystery Babylon. I think they're definitely the number one suspect for that to be the case, and I'm going to get into some of that here. First, I want to also point out that St. Malachi in year 1139 had a vision, said he had a vision that it was revealed to him that there'd be 112 more popes, and that the last one would be a black pope, referring to corrupt, not referring to skin color. And Pope Francis is currently Pope number 112. What's interesting about the whole black pope aspect of this all is that for two reasons. One is that he's a Jesuit, and he's part of a secret society, which is the Jesuits, and they wear all black. Another thing interesting about it is just that he would be corrupted. And Malachi Martin, who worked in the high offices of the Vatican, he was an exorcist, an archaeologist, a professor, worked very high up within the Vatican, but then I believe he renounced his ties to the Catholic Church, or at least the level of what he was dealing with within the Vatican, because he realized that there was at the very top level a group of people, a power elite within the Vatican, who were of course doing the sexual things with children that everybody knows about. They were all, many of them, gay, and he said that all these people worshiped Lucifer, and there was actually a satanic ring within the Vatican at the highest levels. So of course that could also tie to the meaning of the black pope within St. Malachi's vision, if that's an honest vision. But we do have Malachi Martin's testimony, which seems to me to be very true.
Flammas eius, Lucifer matutinus inveniat. Ille inquam Lucifer qui nescit occasum, Christus filius tuus, qui regressus ab inferis, humano generis serenus iluxit, et tecum vivit et regnat in saecula saeculorum.
Somebody forgot to turn the lights off in Kentucky. Look at this. It's 9 o'clock at night. And the sky is still perfectly blue. And everything's got a weird orange tinge to it. I think I'm gonna go back inside now.
What the f*** is that? Can somebody explain this shit to me? There's something going on over here, right? But the sun is over here setting right now. The sun is over there setting. What the f*** is that?
Today is June 30th, and the current time is, what's the time?
9:15.
Current time is 9:15 p.m. I'm in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and the sun has already set at 9:06 p.m. But as you can see, there's something directly above me at the noon o'clock hour, and it's still very daylight out here. And this side looks completely, like daytime, and that's usually where the sun sets.
Are you guys aware of the latest? Russia is breaking the Antarctic Treaty, and they're revealing that there's rivers, lakes, a whole continent, everything down there, even civilizations, yo. The Queen just died. I mean, if that's not enough for you to start thinking that everything you know is a lie, I don't know what will make you realize that everything you know is a lie.
Oh, Russia is now becoming the first country to break ties with the Antarctic Treaty. Is now stating there is an entire continent under the Antarctic ice. They are now saying there is fresh water, lakes, rivers, and civilization up under the ice in the Antarctic. We all knew because all these countries can't agree on nothing, but they can agree on keeping everybody in the world out of Antarctica. And I'll tell you why. They know everything that we've ever been told is a lie. An entire civilization is under the ice. So you know that there's life forms. And now Russia has broken its silence and has confirmed advanced civilization up under the ice.
So anyway, right here, it's the gentleman's agreement. Despite mining ban, Russia scours Antarctica for massive fossil fuel deposits. Okay. Now, supposedly, none of the countries are supposed to be touching Antarctica because there's all this stuff going on over there that we're not supposed to know about. Like, for instance, a lot is going on over there. Okay, there's supposed to be these different. It's supposed to be a whole civilization over there, but that's something we're going to find out. Okay, so here he's going for the fossil fuel. Okay, he's over there. He is scouring. He's doing what he's got to do, and he's breaking the treaty. Right now, we don't even have a leader that is going to stop anyone from breaking anything. Bottom line, it's what it is, okay? It's not going to matter. They're going to do what they want to do, and it's just going to cause more and more issues.
So guys, Russia just can't keep their mind off the book of Revelation, no matter what they do. Just can't keep their minds off of the book of Revelation. They just want to keep quoting it, referencing it, fulfilling it. You know, it's on their agenda. That's what they want to do. And as we know, looking at this joint effort that they have here of military operations between Russia, China, and then what seems to be a joint flag. I don't know if that represents what country is that, if that's another country or what have you. But as we know, the book of Revelation talks about these colors of red, blue, and sulfur yellow all being together on the battlefield. So kind of interesting to consider that. And also you might consider this. My wife brought this to my attention. Also similar colors, right? Coming out of the British side of things. So you might consider that this may also be what they're seeing on the battlefield in Revelation. The red, blue, and yellow. So kind of intriguing there indeed. You know, that was the first one. You know, that was back, this says June, but I think it might have even been earlier than that. But he talks about the horsemen of the apocalypse being on their way, right? And then he comes back again, and a second time, as this article also points out, says new threat from Dmitry Medvedev. So this is the new threat. So that was the first threat. This is the new threat. It says the apocalypse has not arrived, but the first angel has already sounded. So first he talks about the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And if you notice, look at the colors in the back. Of course, those are the Russian colors, red, blue, and white. But kind of interesting. The apocalypse has not arrived, but the first angel has already sounded. So first he says the four horsemen to come. Then he says the first angel has already sounded. Does this guy have a direct tie to death and Hades? I mean, what's going on here? You know, is he talking to the angels? Actually, it's the four creatures who sound the alarm for the seals, those first four seals, four creatures around the throne. But what does he know that we don't know? You know, how does he know all this is going down? But he's making these statements, not saying it could be, he's saying it is. And so finally, today, he comes out with a new one. So this is the third time now he's quoting Revelation. And this time, he says, the apocalypse of John is invoked by N. Medvedev. The prologue to the Third World War is approaching. Modern fighters and anti-aircraft are taking Kiev.
U.S. stocks get crushed today. Very predictable. Trust the plan on record inflation that they cannot stop. Again, I'm Christopher Green. I've been saying this for a very long time now, that it doesn't matter how far they raise interest rates, they cannot stop hyperinflation from overtaking the United States of America. When you've been printing currency like a crack addict into infinity for multi-decades, you can't just turn it off in 5 seconds. It would have to raise rates like 20%, ladies and gentlemen, and even then, it would take years to tamper down on inflation. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to reset the system. They're going to change the rules, break the rules, move everyone over to CBDCs, eviscerate the middle class like I've been warning. And what should you be doing? You should be getting out of the system today. We also have impending rail strikes, reported on this yesterday, that could shut down the global and, more importantly, domestic economy starting on Friday. So I'm going to get into that and more. Let's look at CNBC.com. Dow Jones Industrial Average getting slammed today, down 1,000 points. S&P 500 down near 3-4%. NASDAQ getting crushed, down near 4.5% today on inflation, because it's not just about fuel costs, it's not just about the sanctions and a long, hard, frigid, cold, ice-freezing winter in the Eurozone, with record inflation, according to Goldman Sachs, hitting about 22% now that the Queen is gone and we have a new king, King Charles, who I believe, along with other global leaders, will be declaring a declaration of a planetary emergency very, very soon. Now, let's talk about the geopolitics today, because this is very scary. The Pope, of course, transferring all assets, $5 billion of the Catholic Church, out to the Vatican Bank, preparing for the October 1st culmination in September Shemitah event, the 7-year cycle of which we have huge drawdowns, economic crises, and of course we move into new type of market systems. The Pope, having done all that, is now meeting in Kazakhstan. And guess who's also in Kazakhstan? Well, the premier, Mr. Xi of China, and Vladimir Putin, all meeting at the same time at this crux of the war in Ukraine. So isn't that interesting? It's not just the Pope in Kazakhstan today as we speak. It's also Xi and Putin.
And what's known as the Revelation 12 sign, which appeared on September 23rd, 2017, the planet Jupiter plays the role of the male child in this sign in the heavens. she gave birth to a male child, one who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. But her child was caught up. In Greek, the word is harpatzo. It means raptured to God and his throne. This is the view of the heavens at sunset on the Feast of Trumpets 2022. When Paul says we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, he's speaking of the Feast of Trumpets. Jupiter, the man-child, the Christian from the Revelation 12 sign, is now above the tail of the dragon. In the constellation of Pisces, the Christian. To the left of the fishes is Aries. In Hebrew, it's Taleh, the lamb. It is Christ, the Lamb of God, who will snatch the Christians from the dragon in the sea, just like in the account of the 153 fish. The dragon of Revelation 12:4 dwells in the sea and is about to devour the Christian who has just arrived in the constellation of the fishes, Pisces. The early Christians were called Pisces and Ichthus. The bands of the fish, Pisces, are on the neck of the dragon. It is the Holy Spirit-filled church who is restraining the dragon, Satan, and his followers. When we leave, Satan and the Antichrist will no longer be restrained. The new moon is in the same location as Jupiter was when the Revelation 12 sign reached its fulfillment. The ancient rabbis called this new moon Yom HaKesah. It means the day of concealment. It's the Christian who will be concealed at the rapture.
10 days before all hell breaks loose. The 26th is our high watch date. It is the 120th and the 70th Jubilees end on that day. And I'm telling you, Cuba grapples with food crisis. Sri Lanka, food crisis. Look at this. This isn't good. Historic failure. Warning all workers. What they have prepared, unbelievable, horrific, is very, very true. Because I'm telling you, now we have the train lines are on strike. The truckers are on strike. And I'm telling you, this is going to really escalate. This is 19 hours ago.
The world's first D.A.R.T spacecraft designed to deflect an asteroid off of its course will undergo testing by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA. Nerissa Dando tells us the details live.
Good evening, guys. NASA's Double Asteroid Redirection Test, or D.A.R.T, will impact its target asteroid to test planetary defense technology in space. According to NASA, the mission will allow them to assess whether a spacecraft impact can be used to change the orbit of an asteroid on a collision course to Earth. If everything goes according to plan, this will be the first spacecraft that can defend the Earth against potential asteroid or comet hazards. D.A.R.T spacecraft will slam Dimorphos at 7:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on September 26th and will be live streamed.
Show you some really cool stuff that's going on in the world, and the reason I want to show you this and the significance of the upcoming September 25th to the September 28th being the first of Tishri, or the Jewish New Year, the Feast of Trumpets coming up. Very, very significant, and I just want to show you some things that are going on in the world that are actually converging to that point. So, and not only will it be the first day of the new year for the Jews, it will also be the end of a Shemitah cycle, and it's also going to be a Jubilee, brothers and sisters. And so September the 26th, first of Tishri on the Jewish calendar. The other amazing thing that's happening on that date was on September 26th at 7:14 p.m, the NASA's Double Asteroid Redirection Test, or D.A.R.T, will impact its target asteroid on Monday. Okay, that's September the 26th at 7:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Now, that asteroid that it's going for is called Didymus. Okay, the name of that asteroid is Didymus, brothers and sisters, and the amount of things I have found out by just studying that word. Did you know that Thomas from the Bible, his actual other name that he was known for was Didymus, pardon me, and was not Thomas the doubter? Thomas was the one that didn't believe in Jesus' resurrection until he said, I want to see the holes in his hands, right, and the holes in his feet, and I want to put my finger in his side, and then I'll believe. And so I think God is putting all these things together to make us wake up and realize that we gotta believe. It's really all about belief.
Dieser 24. September 2022 wird uns allen als ein Tag im Gedächtnis bleiben, von dem wir später einmal sagen werden, ich weiß noch genau, wo ich war.
Good afternoon. This is Jerry Tony. I've been out working and so many things are happening prophetically. I would say that prophecy is splitting wide open, and we are probably has turned it into, I believe I'm going to have to go with the Feast of Trumpets, Rapture this year. First thing I'm going to show you is this one. 10 days before Feast of Trumpets, 5 red heifers arrive in Israel from Texas. They actually came from Comanche County right here where I live. The rabbi said, we are now in the days of the Messiah. Wow. You know, there is going to be a third temple built, whether people deny it or not. And it's going to take them about 3.5 years to get it built, just in time for the son of perdition to take his place there. I mean, can we count the timing any further? They do have the red heifers.
And now let's go back a couple hours. And as you can see here, the 28th of October 1939, also a red blood moon happening here on Sukkot Tabernacle. So as you can see here, this is something huge. This is something out of this world in similarities, because a blood moon tetrad also happened on 1938 and 1939. The beginning of the Second World War happened right in the middle here of the blood moon tetrad, right there before the Second World War. This is something completely out of my mind, because already by itself a blood moon tetrad doesn't happen quite often. It's very unlikely. You guys believe that Pastor Mark Biltz found the 2014 and 15 blood moon tetrad? That we know now it wasn't perfectly a tetrad, because it didn't fall perfectly to the dates that we know now. However, we found that 2021, 2022 blood moon tetrad, and now we can see that tetrad happened also in 1938 and 1939, right there in the beginning of the Second World War. This Shemitah cycle cannot pass with the church in here, because clearly we can see this pattern here repeating itself with Israel in the center, because the Second World War was a thing that made Israel come into the world as a nation. And we can see now that this Shemitah cycle, where they are expecting their Messiah, is the moment where perfectly fits the Antichrist to come, make a pact, and start the Third World War. And we know all of the things that will happen in tribulation. The sky clock that I have been showing you guys shows us that the constellations, the sun is pointing in constellations, and the constellation is the number of the month, and the moon begins the month with the new moon, as we can see. And I have shown you guys in the previous videos also that the sky clock itself shifts 30 degrees every about 2,000 years. That's why we are 30 degrees or 1 month different than what the Jews are thinking right now. Because most Watchmen and the Jews, they are believing we are in the 6th month, the month of Elul. However, because of this shift here, we are actually in the 5th month, the month of Leon, the lion. So, as I have shown you guys here, the sky clock points to us that the middle point here, what used to be the 4th month 2,000 years ago, is now for us, because the sky shifted, the middle point of the 5th month, when the sun is pointing Leo, the lion. And we have been expecting the rapture to happen anytime in this month, but the perfect moment for it to happen is right there in the middle, between the 5th and the 6th month, when the moon will be full. So all of this is a watch time for us. However, when the moon is full, that's the most likely moment for us to expect. And the middle of the 5th month is Tu B'Av, the moment when they historically snatched brides for themselves after the curse of the desert ended. So the moment when they snatched brides historically, Tu B'Av, the middle of the month of Av, the middle of the month of Lion, that's when it's the moment most likely for us to happen the rapture of the church, because it will be a full moon, and it will be perfectly aligned to what we have been seeing here in this sky clock. Also, it will be the end of the summer that will end on the 21st of September. So it will get the summer harvest still. It's the end of the summer, and it is the moment before the Shemitah cycle changes for the Jews, that they believe it will be right there on September 26 and 27. So take a look, September 2022 for them, the Shemitah cycle will end on Rosh Hashanah, Feast of Trumpets, 26 and 27 of September. Another very big similarity to 1938, which also the Shemitah cycle will happen on 26 and 27 of September as well. So 1938, 2022. 1938, 2022. Basically, it is the same dates, the same moment, the same period of time that we are waiting right after summer ends, and we can expect here for the moment we can live here between the 10th and 11th here of September, which is the 14th and the 15th of the month of Av, the 5th month, when the moon will be full and the sun is still in the constellation of the Lion.
So I've been discussing with you guys for the last several weeks, watch out between the months of September, the month we're in now, and this coming November of 2022, looking for possibly a complete collapse or a crash, and possibly a complete collapse. Because we know this must happen, according to the pages of End Times Bible Prophecy. And then I get alerted from many people today of what just happened on Wall Street. This is actually my brother in Christ, Chooch, from TOL End Times, sent me this picture. Folks, this is a sea of red. This was a current condition before Wall Street closed today. Just looking at the current condition, and as you can see, it's a complete sea of red. And then all I keep hearing about at work today is people talking about what just happened on Wall Street. I'm busy at work, so I don't know what's going on. And then I got the alert from Market Watch. The Dow books near 1,300 point drop today, folks. You heard that correct. The Dow books near a 1,300 point drop today as stocks record worst day since June 2020.
Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day.
Food prices will reach peak prices in September.
We're going into a war cycle. It just so happens the war cycle is going to start on a very interesting date, September 26th.
We are witnessing, and not just since this summer, but over the past few years, the end of what we might have seen as abundance. And for those who enjoyed it, it is also the end of a carefree time. Our freedom, the liberty to which we have grown accustomed to in our lives, has a price, and sometimes when we have to defend it, we have to make certain sacrifices as we fight to defend it.
Even if you're not a farmer, you know that different crops are harvested at different times, right? For example, you start planting winter wheat in the fall and then you harvest it in the spring. Spring wheat is planted in the spring and then starts to get harvested in the fall. With that being said, the bulk of this year's growing season will start to be harvested in the end of September.
I heard the voice say, the great day will be on the first 26. Then my sister in the dream repeated it. She said, the great day will be on the first 26? And then I repeated, I said, the great day will be on the first 26. The great day will be on the first 26. And I kept repeating, and it was repeated in the dream until I woke up.
So basically we were in tents, and Dana Coverston is literally holding a mic, and all through the dream he's just retelling his dream, just constantly retelling his September dream. That's all we're doing the whole dream, guys. And this was another one of those dreams that God gave me where no matter how much I was interrupted, when I went back to sleep, it picked back up where it left off. But every time I went to sleep, it picked back up with us in tents and Dana Coverston retelling his September dream over and over and over. And then I kept seeing the number 26. 26. I have no idea what this number means. I kept hearing, guys, and I know nothing about this, so please help me if you do. Gregorian calendar. And I'm looking at my notes, guys, because I had to get up and text myself. But I kept hearing Gregorian calendar. Gregorian, I hope I'm saying it right. But that's what I kept hearing. And I got up and I looked that up. Obviously, I was trying to look it up with the number 26.
I had a dream that followed the same pattern of the months, and I saw the calendar turn to September. And a hand reached up and grabbed the month of September and pulled it off of the page. And my mind and my attention was turned to the end of the month of September, where there was a whole lot of people still praying on that day. And the heavens opened. And I saw the Lord, and he was standing there with angels. And he said very clearly, "Arise, my bride. Arise, my bride, and prepare to pray. Arise, my bride, and prepare for battle." And lastly, he said, arise, my bride, and prepare to see my face. For I'm coming soon, and my reward is with me. And then there was a sound like of 1,000 shofars being blown all at once. And even in the dream, I could feel the wind of those shofars hitting my face. And I woke up.
Daniel 9:27 is being signed by Emmanuel Macron on September 26, 2022. Funny thing about this, 4 days ago I had mentioned to Minister Joe I had a dream about September and 26.
The biblical name of Rosh Hashanah is Yom Adin, Judgment Day, because that's the day that the entire world is being judged. And it's actually the day that is decided if the world will continue to exist or not. On Judgment Day, on Rosh Hashanah, the entire world is being judged by the Master of the universe. And with our prayers, we crown God to be our God, which means that that day is important to any human being, not only to Jews and not only to observant Jews. This day is detrimental to any living creature in the world, Jews and non-Jews. And even the animals and nature, vegetation, everything is being judged that day. That's why it's called Judgment Day.
Even to this day, the Feast of Trumpets is kept as a 2-day feast because the sighting of the new moon could fall on either one or the other day. So when Jesus was saying you won't know the day or the hour, he was actually telling you it's the Feast of Trumpets, that he's coming back for his bride during the rapture. Now we don't know the exact day and hour, but it's either going to take place on one day or the other during that feast. The Jews knew the feast days, so they immediately understood what Jesus meant. No wonder Paul says in 1 Thessalonians 5 concerning the times and seasons, you have no need that I write unto you, because the Feast of Trumpets is the only feast also where the shofar is blown 100 times. You have 3 distinct sounds blown in sets of 9 and repeated 11 times, which gives you 99. The last one, which is one long blow, is always referred to as the last trump. So when you see in 1 Thessalonians 4:16 through 18 where it says with the trump of God, it's referring here to that specific feast, the last trump. It's talking about the Feast of Trumpets during that feast. We know from 1 Corinthians 15:52 where it says, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. As well as 1 Thessalonians 4:16 as mentioned, for the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air.